No risk it, no biscuit.
Coming from the Arizona desert, presented by SBNation.com. For Arizona Cardinals fans, by Arizona Cardinals fans, with outsider and insider's perspective, this is Revenge of the Birds. Hello, Arizona Cardinals fans. This is your host, Jess for Revenge of the Birds Radio. And today we have begun the free agent period for the NFL and the Arizona Cardinals. We have a few little bits of news that we know about. We know that the Arizona Cardinals have signed offensive tackle Jared Veldheer from the Oakland Raiders to a 5-year, $35 million contract. The team also re-signed and brought back tight end Jake Ballard on a 1-year contract. They re-signed kicker Jay Feely on a 1-year contract and brought back defensive lineman Frosty Rucker on a 2-year contract. Today is actually kind of a special day for Revenge of the Birds Radio, as we have Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald as a guest. I spoke with him earlier today and have the interview ready to talk to. And I talked to him about several things about the offseason. I talked to him about the free agent period, the loss of Carlos Dansby and Andre Roberts. He has some interesting things to say about that, as well as looking ahead to the season. And the interview with Fitzgerald was courtesy of EAS, who is, along with Larry Fitzgerald, is promoting March as National Nutrition Month. So let's go ahead and bring on Larry as you can listen to the interview that I had with him this morning. Take a listen. Morning, Larry. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for coming on this morning and talking to us. How exciting is this time of year for you? Obviously, for fans, it's exciting. For the media, it's exciting. There's all of a sudden a whole bunch of NFL news, player movement. How is it much different for you, or is it just part of the business?
Well, it's part of the business. I mean, this is we know unexpected. It comes every single year. I'm just focused on trying to improve and get myself back into shape, as we get approach the off-season workouts, starting up here in a couple weeks, and enjoying a little bit more downtime with the family, before it all gets back rolling again.
How does that? How much time do you take off at the end of the season before you get started again?
Probably about 6 to 8 weeks to get your body back together. And then, early March, late February, you start slowly working your way back into it again.
Well, now there was news yesterday. Obviously, there's a couple players that you lost as teammates. You lost Andre Roberts, Carlos Dansby. How tough is that on you personally when you lose guys that you know real well, especially a guy Andre that you've been pretty close with for the past couple of years? I know you've said already that you support him and you want him to do what's best for him and his family, especially on the business side. But how tough is that on you and other teammates when you lose a guy like Andre?
Well, I'm happy for both of those guys. Obviously, we've been great to have them as teammates. But they both went out there in free agency and got signed, large contracts. And I'm always going to be friends with them regardless of what team they are and what they're doing in life. Those are my boys. Obviously, me and Carlos got drafted in 2004 together. And, so I have a lot of love for both of those men right there, and I'm happy that they're able to go out there and secure some nice contracts for their families.
Now, Lorenzo Alexander yesterday, he spoke on TV and said that Dansby, he was irreplaceable. For you, why would you think that Lorenzo said that, and who do you think can step up, not only on the field but in the locker room to kind of fill the role that Carlos filled a year ago?
It's a big void to fill. It hurts losing those. He not just his play on the field. It's who he is as a man, his leadership in the locker room, accountability, just everything about him. It's going to be sorely missed. And, I really wish we would have been able to keep him. But like I said, I'm happy he's able to go get some money for him and his family.
And on the offensive side of the ball, you say goodbye to Darren College, but the reports are saying that you guys will have a new teammate in Jared Veld here coming over from Oakland. What does the potential of having an established, very good left tackle potentially do to the offense and what you guys can do?
Anytime you can stabilize the offensive line, especially left tackle position, which is the most coveted in football behind the quarterback position, it brings that continuity and that toughness and mindset that you're going to be able to run the football, protect the quarterback. It helps out a lot, especially in the division that we play in, which is the toughest in football. You really need that.
What do you guys have to do differently, specifically on offense, to take that next step?
Well, you looked at our offense, and we weren't all cylinders early on. We got to playing a lot better down the stretch, and so I really like the way we were able to progress as the season went on. We just need to start faster in the beginning of the season, and I think we'll be just fine. We had a nucleus of guys that really stepped up and performed well for us last year. It wasn't just one guy; it was a bunch of guys, and when you have that balance, it makes you that much better.
How good can this offense be? You guys really picked it up the second half of the season and put up some pretty good numbers. Carson's numbers really improved once everyone seemed to get a handle on the offense. You and Michael got more comfortable playing the multiple positions at receiver. How good can this offense be, especially if you take the last half of last season and kind of put that out there and perform at that level from day one or week one?
Well, it's going to be exciting. We can pick up where we left off last year. I feel like we were one of the hottest teams in the NFL, down the stretch last year, in terms of not only just throwing the football but running the football. We were extremely balanced, and I think that the more balanced you are, the more trouble you cause for teams because you're not just one-dimensional. We can beat you in the ground. We can beat you in the air. I think guys understood that, and Coach Arians does a great job of installing a system that is really player-friendly. We understand what we're doing out there, understands our hots and sites, we understand all of our adjustments and everything he's asking us to do. And that really showed, as we progress later on in the season. So I'm really excited where we're starting off. Obviously, it took a while for us to all grasp what was going on. But now, since we all have a handle on it, there's no excuses for us not to start fast.
How good was that? How important was that to have a guy like Carson Palmer, not only with his veteran presence, but to be the one guy throwing passes to you all season long during the season? How important was that?
We needed that as a team, to have that position solidified. He was able to take every single snap for us last year. Played through some injuries. It was really tough, and played real well for us. Threw for 4,000 yards, and really helped. A lot of the guys, Andre Ellington and Michael Floyd and myself and all the other guys that were key contributors in our team last season.
And Andre Ellington, a lot of buzz about him. How exciting was he to see in his rookie year, especially as Bruce Arians said that it was the first time he was ever asked to do anything, play out there, do a little work with the receivers, and he did it really well. How exciting is he to watch on the practice field and in the game, especially at his young age?
Dre's special. He's really got a lot of intangibles. Just aside from being a special football player, he's a really special young man. There's no ego to him. He's a hard worker every single day. Comes out there, gives his best. He's coachable. He wants to improve and get better. So it's fun to see a young man like that, have this success. But you see why he has this success because of his hard work and dedication. And Coach Arians and the coaching staff believes in him. He can go out there and make the plays, and he does it week in and week out. So him going into his second year, I really see him as somebody that is going to bust on the scene and be one of the top backs in the game.
Right. Another change you guys in the coaching staff. I know you've had a good relationship with John Lott, and obviously Buddy Morris, who replaces him, has a track record in the NFL. What were some things specifically that you learned that you got that were great experiences or things that you learned from Lott, and what you expect to do or how things might be different with the new coach Morris?
Coach Lott is special to me. We had a really close bond over the years. He's helped me out tremendously. Obviously, athletically, just strength and conditioning and flexibility and a lot of other aspects of my game. I know I wouldn't have played at the level that I played at without him. But the NFL is, it changes. It never stays the same. Unfortunately, he was let go, but, I have a lot of respect for Coach Buddy Morris. He also went to Pitt, was at Pitt a very long time, also with Roger Kingdom coming from Pitt. I'm familiar with them guys, and I've known them for a long time, and it's exciting, to be able to work with them finally.
With the way you restructured your contract, is there more urgency in 2014 than there has been?
My urgency level never changes. It's always the same. Every single day I step on the field, I'm trying to get better and improve, and reach the goals that I have set for myself. So it doesn't matter what the numbers are or what they aren't. I always take the same approach.
Great. And this month is National Nutrition Month. Is that correct? Tell us what you and EAS are doing.
Well, we're really focused on improving. Finding new ways to push yourself. You don't have to be, an NFL player to train like one and to get in shape and to take care of your bodies. And simple nutrition, is what's so important. I know that I wouldn't be here today, talking to you about my athletic performance if I didn't have EAS, supporting me and teaching me new innovative ways to take care of my body and continue to push the bar. I know that eating the right thing, getting the proper sleep is essential for my success. And this is a big month, around the country. Everybody just kind of look at themselves, evaluate their routine, and find ways to be able to push their performance to the peak level.
Any tips for me, an out-of-shape middle-aged man, to improve in that health department?
What are your goals?
Well, I wish I could say that my goals are to train like an NFL player, but I could go with a few pounds off the midsection.
Well, you can lose a few pounds just by changing your diet. To be honest with you, you just focus on, eating, cut just the amount of food you eat. If you were just to cut that down a little bit, not eat as late, make sure you're getting 9 hours of sleep every night. Working out in the morning, drinking more water, eliminating, the juices and pops in your diet, you will cut it very, very quickly. And that's just with minimal cardiovascular work. You get it off quick by just changing the way you eat.
Great, Larry. I appreciate your time this morning. Appreciate the time from you and for the efforts of the EAS to get you on the air with us this morning. You have a wonderful day, Larry. Thank you all.
All right, Jess. Take care, buddy.
That was Larry Fitzgerald here on Revenge of the Birds Radio. Got to talk to him this morning again, thanks to EAS, about the offseason. Was able to ask a few questions, and I apologize for my self-indulgence of getting that question in there at the end. That was a little personal thing there. However, if you'll notice some of the things that he talked about, you can clearly tell that Larry Fitzgerald, the football player and the business, had no problem with either Andre Roberts or Carlos Dansby and the decisions that they made to go elsewhere. Obviously, Andre Roberts, a friend of Fitzgerald, who has over the past 2-3 seasons spent time with him in the off season to go travel the world. Roberts now will be a Washington Redskin. He's the 4-16, and he will be missed. But as Fitzgerald can obviously, as you heard, he is all for players making their money and getting themselves a good contract, as that's their livelihood. The same could be said about Carlos Dansby. He is thrilled about that. I mean, we saw on Twitter yesterday, Darnell Dockett quite upset with the departure of Dansby, whether he was not offering enough money for him to stay. As Dockett had previously tweeted that he was sure that Dansby was going to re-sign with the team. There are a lot of opinions about Dansby leaving among Arizona Cardinals fans. Probably on our next show when we get Seth Cox on. I think we'll have a show next week that we will talk about the effects of Dansby leaving. Some are, say, good riddance, chasing the money. Some are angry at him for lack of loyalty. But the truth is, when you get offered a contract that's worth twice the money as the one that your team you're at was offering, and in fact, where the guaranteed money was more than the total amount of money offered by the Cardinals, you can't fault him. And about the whole winning thing, there is no reason why he can't win. Obviously, do not have as easy a road there in Cleveland. However, they do have some defensive talent. They are rebuilding there. They have high draft, so they could presumably pick up their quarterback. And the AFC North is not the AFC North that it was 3-4 years ago. Baltimore obviously missed the playoffs. Cincinnati has lost some players and has turned over in the coaching staff, so we'll see about that. And the Steelers, the Steelers are not the same team they were years ago. So while they are the Browns, and they're the Browns, there is no reason to believe that they can't be on that right track. It certainly is probably an easier road than the Arizona Cardinals have. Obviously, the Cardinals showed that they're definitely contenders in the division. But we'll talk about it another time. But notice how Fitzgerald talked when I asked him about the void that Carlos Dansby leaves. Fitz is very, very sorry to see him go. Like he said, he wishes that the team could have kept him for whatever reason. I don't think there's anything upset at that part, but he will be missed, both his play on the field and the man, he said, his leadership. And Fitzgerald also feels a certain closeness to him being a part of the same draft class by the Arizona Cardinals in 2004. So you have to feel for a guy who obviously understands the business of the game. And talking about the offseason, he's excited about the upcoming year, especially knowing that the offensive coaching staff is all in place, the offense is installed, and what we got is this. Ideally, what performance they had the second half of the season can be from week one. And he's excited about that. Andre Ellington, you also heard that he said that Ellington potentially could be one of the best backs in the game. He loves his work ethic, loves his dinner. We've got a lot to be excited about. Today, Arizona Cardinals fans for listening. I didn't promote this live, so you're likely listening to it via download. This is Jess Root signing off from Edge of the Birds Radio. I imagine we'll be back on next week with Seth Cox, as we normally do, as we will talk about and round up the week of the free agent moves that we have in the and
You've been listening to Revenge of the Birds. Keep the conversation going by visiting revengeofthebirds.com. Follow us on Twitter at Revenge of Birds. You can also find us on iTunes at facebook.com/Revenge of the Birds.